Welcome to Hub City Spokes, where creators, catalysts, entrepreneurs, and leaders share their insight here in Lubbock, Texas. I'm Katherine White with the Lubbock Economic Development Alliance, and today we have Ross and Jacob Hamil, who, funny enough, are always with us. They're actually behind the camera. So today we get to have you guys out here. Yeah, Thanks for joining us.
I would say you're welcome, but like you said, we're kind of here. So,
Yeah.
I mean, whether we're in front of the mic or behind it, we're
behind
we're
that
always
mic.
here. We're always here.
So you both do video production here in Lubbock. Tell us a little bit about Hamil Brothers Studios.
Oh, can you say a little bit about Hamil Bros Studios?
That's a tough thing.
No, we our primary focus is promotional, commercial type filmmaking. So we enjoy helping businesses and brands get creative with their video stuff. Sometimes it's serious, but I feel like our forte is comedy.
Yeah.
So, we did a couple Super Bowl. We've done several Super Bowl ads for a client down in Midland, and one of his companies is garage doors. They install garage doors, and we used cavemen in his ad.
Oh yeah.
So
that was awesome.
So we like out of the box, and we like to we like to do the impossible.
Yeah.
So
actually, our motto is do the work that scares the living crap out of us. So it's like not ever usually something we're comfortable with doing, but we'll do it, and it usually turns out pretty fun. I mean, if we're not laughing on set, something's wrong anyway. So that's pretty much what we do.
Yeah. Did y'all always know you wanted to do production, or how did it start for you?
No, I didn't always know. Everybody we talk to in the industry, they're like, man, when I was 3 years old, I saw
Raiders of the Lost Ark. That's the big one.
That's the movie.
Yeah.
And they were like, I knew from that moment I wanted to be in filmmaking, but it didn't hit me till high school. I took 4 years of Spanish in high school. I didn't take the same class for 4 years. No, I was better than that. I actually took 4 different classes. But my second year as a sophomore, we had a teacher who would assign video projects, and she's showing us example videos. Here's what I want. Here's the information. Here's what other students have done. And I remember, looking over here, this kid's asleep, and this one his eyes are glazed over and he's drooling on his desk because the videos are so boring. And I thought to myself, I don't want to do that. If I'm going to do this, so some people say our last name means overkill in several different languages.
Yeah. Latin being one of them.
Yeah.
A dead language even.
And Klingon.
Yeah.
But I decided I wanted to do movie, TV, characters and celebrities, and did it. And till the day she retired, she was using that video almost 15 years later as the example of, okay, you can do it. You can do it this way, like everybody does, or you can do it this way.
This way, yeah.
So
in a world,
and
set the standard,
and
we like setting high standards.
We do, but from that point until I graduated, I had other kids hiring me to do the production on their projects with the teacher's permission. As long as they were learning what they needed to learn, she was fine with it. And then my senior year, I started doing stuff for some of our sports teams at school, and so I had coaches sending me home from school to finish their projects, which was awesome. I didn't want to be in school anyway, so if they were paying me to miss school, that was the greatest thing ever.
Yeah. That's awesome. What about you?
Yeah, I've always loved movies. I'm an avid James Bond fan, have been my whole life. I actually had most of his teachers that he had in high school, so I had to do a lot of the same projects. And I don't think I had to do that project because she wasn't teaching that Spanish class by the time I had it. So I was Spanish 2, and she only taught 3 and 4. Anyways,
we did your final ad.
Yeah, we did. I did a speech project where I think my head exploded and blood splattered on the walls and stuff. We really like action movies, obviously. So it really wasn't a thing for me. We're both musicians. I've played guitar for I'm 26, so 18 years. And I started playing guitar because when he was 16. He started playing guitar, and I was like, I have to do that because I had to do everything that he did. I skipped my age and my generation of people. I wanted to be in his. So all my friends were older for the most part. So I wanted to do what he did. And then I got into college, and I was a music major, and it was not going to ever make me money. Because where I was at school, I had to do music education if I wanted to have a job at all. And I'm not a teacher. Like, I didn't learn guitar traditionally. Like, I learned by ear and by watching people. And so, like, I didn't have guitar theory and I didn't have music theory. And so I knew I was kind of set up for failure because I didn't really enjoy it and I didn't want to teach it. Throughout high school, I had teachers and parents and staff members and admin people asking me if I could teach their kids guitar because I just bought them a guitar for Christmas. I'm like, you don't want me to do that because I learn so differently.
I will ruin them. That's what I tell people.
Yeah,
I can teach them bad habits, but that's
so
about it.
I guess the end of my freshman year of college, I was about to move out of the dorms. I went to Lubbock Christian.
That was the weekend you were moving.
It was the weekend I was
Yeah.
moving, and Ross called. Actually, we read a movie. We went and saw a movie. We went and saw The Raven, which was an Edgar Allan Poe film.
Is that John Cusack?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is weird. Our life like literally revolves around movies. It's
That's our chronological
That's how
timeline.
Yeah. So anyways, we were at that movie and our aunt who does luxury weddings in San Antonio called and she said, I have a client who needs her wedding shot this weekend. They haven't even thought about it. Can you do it? And so Ross tried to call his partner at the time who didn't answer the phone and was not answering the phone at all. And so Ross was like, you want to shoot a wedding this weekend and make $500? And I was like, okay. And so on the way to San Antonio, I'm watching all these like wedding film workshops and stuff, trying to figure it out. And it was a rough, kind of a rough experience. Weddings are not the first thing you probably want to start on because they're so
They're very high stakes.
They're high stakes and
high pressure.
You can't mess up.
Right. You can't reshoot.
You can't
for
reshoot.
sure.
Yeah. And so that's one of the reasons we don't do weddings anymore. We've done them on occasion the last couple of years, but we don't. So I was like, oh, that's fun. And then I went about 6 months without really doing anything. And then we went and shot an ad in Midland for a furniture company. And it was like, I think we wrapped at like midnight or something. It was so late because we couldn't start shooting till after the store closed. We didn't want people having to deal with people and like, customers always like to walk in and go like in the middle of the shot.
I remember we didn't eat dinner that night. We had two food options. We had Wendy's or Whataburger.
That's right.
In Odessa, if you don't want to wait 40 years for your food, you don't go to Whataburger. If you only want to wait 20 years, you go to Wendy's.
Yeah.
So
here we are 20 years later.
Yeah. We're just now getting our food. No.
That's kind of what got me into it. And then I was like, you know what? I think I could make money doing this. And like I said, we grew up on movies. We didn't grow up on sports really. Like our grandparents were avid Cowboys fans and Tech fans and stuff, but we really didn't do that. Our dad was very outdoorsy, like hunting, fishing, stuff like that. And so I really didn't have like a whole lot of sports.
We were weird because we're from Odessa. And as you know, that's like how many movies have been out about football in Odessa. And it's like, I don't watch football. I don't go to football games. I do now, but growing up, it was
we just weren't really we weren't typical West Texas kids because we didn't like sports. It wasn't our thing. And so we grew up on movies and video games and book series and stuff like that. And so movies have been like an integral part of our lives for as long as I can remember, pretty much my whole life. So that's kind of now fuels me whenever I'm kind of getting low. So
what kind of inspiration do you draw from movies?
Man, that's a loaded question.
It really here forever.
Like I feel like my movie watching experience is different from a lot of people in the filmmaking industry because, everybody's like, well, getting into films ruined movies for me because I analyze them the whole time. But I will, now, if the story's flat, then I start analyzing, or if something really sticks out to me that they've done that I think is cool, I'll analyze it. But like for me, I don't, and I hope I don't get flogged and beaten after this, but I don't like art films because like I love movies that are just fun. Yeah. And I feel like that's where, thought provoking to a degree, but I don't want the ones that I'm, 10 years later, I'm like, oh, that's what that meant. I don't enjoy movies like that. I enjoy good story. Mm-hmm. And so that's where I feel like a lot of my inspiration comes from. And then there's two people that I really give a lot of credit to. One of them is Robert Rodriguez, who's based here in Texas. Desperado is one of the first, I don't know why, but I remember that as being one of the first movies I remember seeing outside of Star Wars and Indiana Jones. And the movie before that, he shot down in Mexico for like $7,000, and it won the Sundance Film Festival, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Sundance.
And so I find that to be hugely inspiring because he took nothing. He took no money at all in the grand scheme of things and did something great with it. And the second person is somebody who actually become friends with over the last couple of years, and his name's Stu Maschwitz. He's based out of LA, but he's worked on some small projects like Star Wars and Mission Impossible, things nobody's ever heard of.
Yeah, Sin City.
And and he pioneered the look for Sin City, the original one, with Robert Rodriguez. And he's written a book on how to do, it's called the DV Rebels Guide, which I highly recommend to anybody in the filmmaking industry. But it's how to do, it's specific to action movies, but there's applicable stuff all over, but it's how to do it on no budget. And that's, given where we are geographically, we have to do a lot of things on shoestring because we don't have millions of dollars going into ad campaigns or movies around here. And in independent films, you don't typically have that anyway, especially on short films. So, that's where I pull my inspiration.
Awesome. So speaking of this area, what made you decide to do video production in Lubbock versus Dallas or LA?
You want to take that one?
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. I haven't talked in a while. My voice is getting a little, I got to warm up again. Yeah, I hope it doesn't crack. So we grew up in Midland, Odessa, and then our grandparents lived here. So we frequented Lubbock a lot. And then we both moved here for school and haven't left. And we get asked a lot, like, why don't you go to Dallas, or why don't you go to New Orleans, or why don't you go to Atlanta or LA, or any of those big film places, even Albuquerque, because Albuquerque is a big film place. And I think for us, like, we have a lot of creative opportunity here that I don't know that you necessarily get in those places, because when you get to big film places, you deal with a lot of just having to pay to have anything done. So there's not a lot of room for creative expression unless you have the money to pay to have it. And
you don't want to eat.
Yeah, or you don't want to eat. Yeah. And so like it's the opportunities that we have in Lubbock, and like Lubbock's such a cool place because if you know one person, you know everybody because they know somebody who knows somebody. And for filmmakers, it's like, oh, you're making a film? Yeah, come over. You can use my place, or like, my garage, or you can use whatever. I mean, we have some really crazy things. And then Lubbock is kind of a hub, like an unknown hub of cool stuff we have here. Like we have Scoggin Dickey Parts Center, which is, I think, the biggest engine distributor in the United States. And nobody knows it. We have Stephen Joseph, which they manufacture kids' toys and dolls and t-shirts and stuff. And they're here and they have distribution all over the world. And so it's kind of it's an interesting place to be because film is still new to people here. And so you kind of just have to have permission to do things. and the cost of living. I love living here because film is a feast or famine job. It's very feast or famine. Sometimes it's like we've gone months without work just because it's just the flow, the marketing flow. And
can I jump in here
and
say something? Okay. I like, for me, Lubbock is a very low risk environment.
Yeah.
So it's a great place. Like, we know people who go out to LA and they have to leave after a few months because they starve to death.
Yeah.
And they're working. It's not that they're going out there and trying to find work, they're working. But here, we're able to try things with our clients that, even if it's not as successful as they wanted, they didn't dump $50,000 to $300,000 in it. And this is going to sound weird, but Lubbock is a great place to fail because Lubbock has a good safety net. Whereas if you go out to those places and fail, you're out of a job for the rest of your life, because if you fail in LA, nobody wants you. If you fail in New York, nobody wants you. But here, we can learn to fail fast so that we learn quick what doesn't work and how to do things in a more efficient way. So that's, and like he said, the cost of living here is nothing in the grand scheme of things. And we can work anywhere we want to. We've worked in California. We've worked in Las Vegas, Portland. And, it's with technology being what it is, it's just as cheap for them to fly us out there and do the work as it is for them to hire somebody local. And this is, with Texas Tech coming Texas Tech being here, we get hired on jobs of just people coming through the Burkhart Center here, especially lately. We've done, I think, 3 or 4 jobs just there, the autism center here. And, we're a local crew. And the nice thing about that for us is we have a lot of gear. And there's really no rental houses here to speak of. So if somebody needs film equipment, they come to us because they don't want to drive a truck in from Albuquerque or Dallas. Yeah. And so it's that's something that we're working on expanding. But if we have a friend out in LA who works on big budget movies and tried to get into the rental game, and it didn't work because it's so saturated out there. Yeah. And another good thing about this is the community is so small, like he was talking about. It's not a small community, but it's a tight-knit community. Yeah. So the people that they can get away with stealing from their clients, taking money and not delivering, you can get away with that in bigger markets because you can just jump around from place to place, and you can't get away with that here. No. So the people that really give video production a bad name, they get weeded out real quick. Yeah. And they move on. So that's another plus of being here. Yeah.
You touched on the community a little bit. Can you tell me a little bit more about the creative community here and your dealings around the community?
The creative community, it's kind of tough. Like we're very, we like to play things close to the vest. And just recently we started branching out and collaborating with a lot more local talent. And I started, what was it, 2004 that I moved here, moved up here, and I immediately started a band with my cousin. And at that point, everybody was trying to make it in the music industry, and it got really cutthroat, after I got out of it, I heard that it smoothed out and everybody's friends now. Yeah. And so just having that experience, made me kind of leery about collaborating around here, but working with people outside of Lubbock has taught us how to collaborate. And, we've gotten a lot closer with a lot of the filmmaking community here. Especially, there's a gentleman named Paul Hunton who does some stuff on the PBS channel here. And,
he's at Tech. He teaches at Tech.
He teaches at Tech, but that's how we got plugged in with him, was his 24 Frames show. Yeah. And I don't feel like we have to go very far to find crew. So we may not find what we need here specifically, but we can get it from Amarillo, we can get it from Dallas, because they're not that far away. And if it's not somebody bringing a whole truck, it's, we're in a good location to pull talent that may be outside of what's been cultivated here yet. Yeah. So I don't know if that answers your question about the community, but
I think the greater Lubbock community is what's been so great to us. Like we worked with Glenn Robertson, who was our former mayor. And because of him, we've been plugged into all kinds of people that we would have never met. And it's really not like so much getting work from them, but it's like, we'll mention somebody, we're looking for this kind of location. And like our Super Bowl ad with the caveman, we shot out on Glenn's ranch. He was like, oh yeah, just use my ranch, no problem. I'll have one of my sons out there. He'll take care of you, kind of thing. And everybody here is, for the most part, just really willing to jump in, and it's more collaborative than competitive. And like, people here, I feel like, they want to see other people succeed. You don't see a lot, like in the film industry, it's very cutthroat, and people can be really it's really tough to deal with, especially in like LA, because everybody's after the same job. And so you have to keep everything really close to you. And like, I don't know how many times we've gotten on Facebook and said, oh, hey, we need this kind of a location. Like we need a shower that's got glass doors, not a curtain. And we need it to be big. And somebody comes through, like, we need an ad. We have a fireplace that we need, and we're looking for this style. And it's like, oh, well, that's my aunt, and her house is over on 19th, or, whatever. And everybody is just like very welcoming. They're like,
it's very buddy system, or not buddy system, but, good old boy.
Yeah.
And so as long as you don't tear up their property, they're happy to let you use it.
And they're like, oh yeah, if you ever need it again, just come back and call us, and this is the second place I've ever lived, and it hopefully is the last place I'll ever live. But I don't know if that happens in a lot of other communities, but here it's like, I don't have to worry about some things being taken care of, because you're going to know somebody who knows somebody, and that somebody will take care of you because you're friends with this person. They don't even know you. And they're like, oh yeah, come on in. You're welcome to my house. Oh, we have food. That's the Texas. That's my favorite part about Texas. Everybody has food. It's good food.
That depends. That's what we look for when we're looking for locations is what kind of menu they have. No, the other thing that I would add is, between the high schools and the universities here, they are such a large portion of our population that getting interns has been really easy. And it's not, and I can't speak to anywhere else, but I know we've heard horror stories about interns, and I feel like there are so many people who want to learn and cultivate their skills, and it's not just in video. There are so many kids here who want to learn their trades that they're going to school for, that companies like us, we can pick from the cream of the crop, and we get to be picky about who we have intern with us, rather than getting stuck with some kid who he just has to do it for a credit and he really doesn't care. So he's going to cost us more time and money than he's going to be of value. So that's definitely something that I think this community offers specifically, because we have 3 or 4 universities.
3 universities.
Four. So I'm getting the 4 from over there. So 4 places to choose from, and we can have anybody that we want who wants to learn whatever they want.
Yeah. It seems like it leaves room for you to be creative. Like you're not having to worry about those little things or what the intern's doing.
Right.
and so far, like we've had really good ones. They, I've counseled people, I've had conversations with people who are getting internships, and they're like, I don't think I'm going to know enough when I get there. And I'm like, no, that's the whole point of an internship is when we get an intern, I expect them to know nothing walking in, and it's our job to teach them as best we can. And we've had a lot of this is going to sound scholastic, we've had a lot of eager minds come through our place. But, really we had a girl who was originally from Panama. Yeah. She was born in Panama, her family moved here to Lubbock, and she's at UNT. Yeah. In Dallas. Is that Dallas? Yeah. Denton, Dallas. Yeah. And she's the first person in her family to actually go to college. And, I don't know that we played a very heavy hand in that, but she wanted to get into filmmaking, and she, as of this year, it will be 5 years that she's worked with us whenever she's in town. Yeah. So
actually, she messaged me the other day. Did you see that?
No.
She messaged us on Instagram. She was like, I just miss working with you guys. I was like, please come back.
But you need to bring her back.
I know. We're working on it.
Oh yeah, I would love to have her back here, but it's a great melting pot here because we're, being central. I feel like we just, we get people from all over, and gives us a lot of diversity to work with.
Yeah. So tell me about film-friendly efforts. What's your take on that, and where do you stand?
Well, if we're being honest, whenever I was first talking to Ryan, who's there in your office, I was a bit hesitant because like the film-friendly stuff that we're used to hearing about is LA or it's New York, where if you, as long as you don't set down a tripod, you won't get attacked. But like you'll get fined and ticketed in LA for that kind of stuff. Yeah. But after talking with Ryan, and he was explaining what he is trying to do here with it, it just opens up a lot more opportunities, because right now, like he was saying, we can get any location we want as long as it's private. All we have to do is ask for permission, and we've cultivated enough relationships that it's just like, just don't tear anything up and you're good.
Bring them a pound cake afterward.
But, if we wanted to, pound cake, you're speaking to Glenn Robertson's heart right now.
Yeah, I know.
But, if we needed to, if we wanted to shoot something down in the Depot District, we probably could, but that might end up with one of us having an arrest record, if not both of us. Because, if we're shooting an action movie and we're running around with airsoft guns and somebody freaks out and calls the cops, that there not only goes, that whole project gets tanked, but, it messes with our livelihood. And getting getting Lubbock to be film friendly, I think, is a huge step forward because, there will be, I'm holding you to this, but there will be protocols in place for us to be able to shut areas down, get whatever permits we need so that we can, if, like I said, action movie, we're running around with stunt guns and, if somebody sees it, they might freak out, but at least if they call the police station, they're like, yeah, this is sanctioned. We know there's an officer on site. This is cool. And I think that opens up a lot more opportunities for the things we want to do, but it also expands to bringing more production to Lubbock, which is great for us because, if somebody needs, production assistants or assistant cameras, sound operators, or rental gear, we're right here and they don't have to shop that out to some of the larger cities that are, 5, 6, 7 hours away. So it just gives us room to expand. And I think it's a great idea. Yeah. Now that I've had to think about it for a while.
Do you want to add anything to that?
No, I think you really said it. I mean, Lubbock is full of opportunity and we're expanding a lot. And we're getting the new Buddy Holly Center, which we both love musicals. So let's get some Broadway traveling stuff here again. Because it's not always easy to go to Dallas. So for anybody watching this and you don't know anything about Texas, we're gigantic for one thing, but Dallas is a 5.5 hour drive from us. So we're kind of our own little entertainment hub here in West Texas and West Texas is a huge area. I don't think people understand actually how big it is. So it helps people, it kind of brings people to Lubbock, which is more commerce, which is awesome. And then, the opportunities that we can have along with that and bringing more businesses here and cultivating those relationships. I love it. And the film friendly effort helps us because we have our own dreams. I would love to have a soundstage here. Actually, right now my dream is the old Best Buy building. Because it's awesome and it's huge. It would be perfect for it. I would love to have a soundstage here and then we can bring crews in and if somebody's listening to this and they want to donate that building to us, we'll be glad to take it. We have plans for it.
Yeah.
I think the efforts are worth going through and, if we can help you guys or whoever we have to talk to make that happen, we can provide plenty of evidence to say, this is why we think it's a good idea. And, we're totally behind it.
So why do you think it's a good idea? What advantages does Texas pose for filmmaking?
Texas is so diverse. I mean, it's awesome. We're out here kind of in, I always tell people from LA, anywhere that, we met people from all over the world a couple weeks ago in Las Vegas at a trade show. My favorite way to describe Lubbock is that it's so flat you can watch your dog run away for 3 weeks. So, but we have so much geographical terrain in Texas. It's really flat here. So you kind of have, and you can go south of us and get into oil country. I actually think Ryan Gosling was there working on a film not 2 years ago. I think is right after La La Land. Anyways, so you have oil country, still really flat. You have the interstate right above us going through Amarillo, and then you have we have the mountains really west, El Paso, and then East Texas is beautiful. It's forest and stuff. I just drove through there going to Louisiana a couple weeks ago. We have the Gulf. Hill country, Central Texas. There's so much variety and it's all relatively close. Instead of having to go to Germany for rolling hills, you go to Fredericksburg for rolling hills. And then, Lubbock, we did Highwaymen was, I think maybe in New Mexico. Hell or High Water was shot in New Mexico, but the terrain here looks so similar. There's a lot of storytelling that can happen here.
Yeah, definitely. So what do you guys see as your role in the film industry here in Lubbock? What have y'all taken on as kind of what you want to do to move it forward?
So, I don't know that it's film industry specific, but we have, working, being in business, if you don't have a website, you're behind, especially in our type of industry.
Yeah.
But we've taken on a role, and this kind of I feel like this started last year. Mike's talked about 1 million cups several times, and we were asked to present last year. And instead of talking, we're we're here, we do video, but what we want to provide you guys with is some information that we've gathered about how we operate our business, and we want to share it with you guys. And that's what we've done with our website is we try to, help educate entrepreneurs, small businesses, even larger businesses who might feel like they've plateaued. And so with that, we try to educate people on how to operate their business, but also educate them on the value of video production. Mm-hmm. And, because the first, hey, I want to get a video. How much does that cost? Well, it's, for what you're looking for, it could cost anywhere from $3,000 to $50,000. Oh, I thought a video only cost $500. Well, you can get a video for $500, but it's not going to have much value unless you just have somebody who's insanely talented and doesn't care about making money. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the role that we've taken on, is trying to educate the area about the value of video production. I mean, everybody has a smartphone now. Mm-hmm. Everybody's on streaming, and everything's getting advertised via video now. Yeah. With the exception of Wendy's, who's trolling people on Twitter, but everything has gone to such a visual medium that if you're not doing video, then you're losing business. And if you're not doing video on social media, you're spending money approaching people with your marketing who have no interest in your product and will never have any interest in it. Mm-hmm. So, why not take, if you're spending $20,000 in broadcast, let's say, and you might break even with that. If you took that same $20,000, allocated half of it to your production, and spent $10,000 of it on social media, the return's going to be a whole lot greater, because you're hitting the people who are interested in buying your stuff. Right,
targeted advertising.
And so that's what we've really been hammering on that a lot with our clients.
Yeah, definitely. Education is so important. Mm-hmm. So, well, thanks, guys. We appreciate having you. And
thank you.
Yeah, we'll see you next time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hub City Spokes is presented by the Lubbock Economic Development Alliance and produced in partnership with Hamil Bros Studios. A special thanks to the Innovation Hub here at Texas Tech University for hosting us. To hear more from our creators and catalysts, visit lubbockeda.org/podcast.